In this episode, we have a couple guests actually from the Hawkeye Model Railroad Club out of Coralville, Iowa City, Iowa. Uh, Dan and Jerry are with us to not only talk about the club, but to talk about their club's annual, and this is going to be their fifth annual train show in October. So um, I'm really excited to bring this to you. More great people on here. Enough of me, and stick around because we're going to get this show on the tracks. Welcome to episode 101. It's a really cool, really cool thing to say. Really excited about that. Um, in this episode, like we said in the intro, we've got Dan and Jerry from the Hawkeye Model Railroad Club out of Iowa City, Iowa, which isn't too far away from where I am. And they're here to talk about the club and what the club's been up to, and also their 2025 train show that is in October, and which yours truly will have a booth set up there, the first booth for Model Railroad Talk. So very excited about that. But just before we jump into the interview, just want to make an announcement of a couple new Patreon premium supporters. Timothy G from Rhode Island and Matthew G from Indiana. Thank you very much for your support. Um, very excited to when I see people become premium supporters, but also just the just more or less the moral support. It's nice to see. Um, a little housekeeping. Don't forget about our website, www.modelrailroadtalk.com. We now have our store back up to where you can go over to, which the link is there. I think it's under shop, if I remember right, is how I put it in there from the website, where if you want to pick yourself up a Model Railroad t-shirt and not only show your support our way, but show people you're part of the Model Railroad Talk revolution, you can head on over there and get yourself a t-shirt. We are working on doing sweatshirts and a few other things down the road, which we're getting in for, also getting a stock in for the train show. So if you're going to be in Iowa City, Iowa, or close to, and you want to make a trip out to come out and see Model Railroad Talk, see us at our booth, by all means, come on out. We will have shirts and other things available to look at and whatnot. So before we jump into this, because this is an interview about a club, I I want to enter into it with this little bit of segue. About I'm just going to say a few weeks ago, I received an email from I'm going to say a teenager, young person, and it was they were asking, they're from Minnesota, and they were asking about, they want to get into the hobby, but they went to a train show with their parent and noticed things are expensive and stuff like that, and was asking some questions, so we guided them, gave them some ideas. But this is a good episode for those that maybe are in that situation, whether you are a teenager, a young person of some kind, or maybe you're an adult and you're just, in a sense, financially or physically, like you don't have the room, or financially you can't start a railroad of some kind. This is a good way if you by joining a club, like Curtis said in his interview. Curtis from Broadway Limited, joining a club is a great way. If you have limited resources, you can join a club and still get into the model railroad action and build and run trains and all that good stuff, by going through a club. And as you'll hear, like they've said, clubs, not every club's right for everybody. You have to find the right club. But It's a good way to um, get your feet wet without having to really put out a lot of money. Yeah, most clubs have dues, and but that those dues are minimal in comparison to building your own railroad, unless you're ready to build one. But if you're looking at wanting to build a railroad and you are a little bit apprehensive because I'm not sure where to start, yeah, but you want to be able to fellowship and stuff like that, see if there's any clubs near or in your area and look into them. This interview with them, I think, will open your eyes up a little bit if you've never thought about joining a club. Um, there's people on both sides. Some people want to lone wolf it, not be in a club. Some want to. I've been in clubs before and the most recent one, which is a couple of years ago. Nothing against any of them, not at all. The one thing that didn't work out for me, that didn't work for me, was the meeting, work nights, what have you, were on Monday nights. And for me, where I lived and where it was at, yeah, it was just across the river, but more or less at complete opposite, far opposite points. So it half hour to drive over there or so, half hour to get home, and on a Monday night, Mondays when I come home from work, I usually don't want to do really anything. So, but anyways, enough with that. So let's move on into the interview we've got Dan and Jerry. Dan is he's head of the train show and kind of the social media person there, and Jerry is the club president. So let's move right on into the interview with them, and yeah, enjoy. And we have Dan and Jerry from the Hawkeye Model Railroad Club. They are here to talk about not only the Hawkeye Model Railroad Club, but their fifth annual Hawkeye Model Railroad Club train show that is coming in October. So I want to start out first by saying, Dan and Jerry, welcome to the show and thanks for coming on.
It's a pleasure to be on your show, Gary.
Excited to be here, Gary. Can't wait to talk.
All right. So these first few questions I'm gonna ask. We'll just go back and forth here. So let's start with you, Dan. How long have you been a model railroader?
Since the day I was born, you know, growing up in the late 90s, early 2000s, most kids my age and even a little bit older, they grew up with Thomas the Tank Engine. But
Sure.
specifically, they grew up with the Thomas the Tank Engine wooden figurines and wooden track sets, and I was no stranger to those. I drove my parents absolutely crazy by building these sprawling layouts all over our second floor loft, and they tripped on them almost every night. And but from there, my I was about 10 years old when my uncles actually gave me my first electric train set. It had been one of my grandfather's, and it was an American Flyer standard gauge,
Okay.
or even the old HO gauge. And they pulled it out. My dad got it hooked up in his basement. We got it on a 4x8 sheet of plywood just to see if it'll run. And it spat out so many sparks, terrorizing 10-year-old Dan. And so after that point, my parents decided, he's interested enough to want to have to do this. Let's get him his own. So they actually started me off with the Bachmann Easy Track set with a single loop of track, and it just spiraled from there. And I've been buying and collecting, not so much selling or trading or even modeling, but we're getting there. That's what this club's all about.
Right. Right. How about you, Jerry?
Well, basically, I'm kind of like Dan. I came out of the womb as being a model railroader. Both my parents were model railroaders once I was born on, but it was a deal where my father, he was born in Waterloo, and where he was raised while he was still living in Waterloo was a couple of blocks away from the uh, railroad shops that is, for most people know, as the Iowa Northern, which is now have been absorbed into the, I believe, Canadian National.
Mhm.
And so he solved the steam engines, things like that.
Oh,
Uh,
cool.
and so later in life, when I was old enough, I started to mess around with trains and that. And you got to realize uh, the track that I was born with was brass rails compared to what is now. Everybody is, saying, the nickel silver. And quite frankly, our layout that we have down in our basement right now is 100% brass rail. And you know what? Uh, my mother had a stroke back in the early 2010s, and for 3 years, we didn't operate the layout one bit. And Dad and I went down one day, flipped on the switch, and the trains took off. They're like,
Really?
"Hey, we've been waiting here for 3 years, waiting for you to come back down here." And it was brass rail. Everybody's going like, brass rail is taboo. Well, quite frankly, brass rail has the natural color of what the rails are nowadays when you go out in real life and see them. And quite frankly, we have no problem. But sure, we do have nickel silver for our test track each that we have up in our living room. And my uh, home road is Moppeson and Pacific, Ma, Pa, Son. So it's Ma, my mother, Pa, my father, and Son, myself. So
That's cool.
that's how that name came to be.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I've been associated with the Hawkeye Model Railroad Club since 2013. And in 2014, they voted me as president of the club, and I have been the president since then. They keep voting me back in. I guess I'm doing something right.
Either that or glutton for punishment.
Yeah, one of the two, yeah, or both. I don't know.
Oh,
Dan could probably tell you more about that. If
Eh, to
I
each its
understand.
own.
Yeah, right. I understand that. I was in something totally different. I got voted as president, national president, and stuff like that, and it was like, it's not. It's not quite as fun as everybody or some people think it is. There's more to it than meets the eye sometimes. All
yeah.
right, so Jerry, we'll start with you on this one. What scale do you model in? I'm assuming HO by what you
I
said.
scale an HO scale,
Okay.
and the railroads that I model basically is Burlington Northern Santa Fe, uh, Rio Grande, Union Pacific. Um, of course, Iowa Interstate, since I'm only basically 3 miles away from the main line.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's just various other railroads that I model because I either like the paint scheme or I like the particular model of said locomotive or car, things like that.
Sure.
But then, of course, our own home road, which is the Mopsin Pacific Road.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's a deal where if I like it, I'll get it. Or same thing with
Right.
my dad. If he likes it, he'll get it.
Yep.
And when my mother was alive, she was the same thing. Matter of fact, she did the painting of all the figurines on our home layout
Well, that's
to the
cool.
point where she actually, after she painted the figurines up, she wrote stories for each individual figure.
Wow.
And I mean, Dan can attest that he's been to our layout and he's seen the detail, and it's a very small layout. And, right now it's DC, it's not a DCC layout, but we do have a lot of DCC equipment. And so, there's a nice mixture of the two uh, groups, if you want to call it that.
Sure.
And I thoroughly enjoy it. For me, it goes and uses my degree that I have, which is a BFA in theater technology.
Mm-hmm.
And so A lot of that, with woodworking, scenery, painting, things like that, falls right into our club usage. And later this year, I will be putting some of that knowledge that I've learned in college on to the layout once we get to a certain point.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
How about you, Dan? What scale do you model in?
I got the most popular scale in the world, HO scale, all the way. Heck with that. Oh, apologies to all your O scale and N scale and all those other scales out there.
Right.
We do have a few crazy people in the club. They do S scale,
Oh.
the sole survivors out there, I guess you
Mhm.
could call them. But just HO all the way. And I'm the strange one in this group. I model CSX and a lot of mostly CSX is where I grew up. I'm from actually West Central Ohio, so CSX is home to my heart, where I had the mainline track going through less than a half a mile from my house.
Mhm.
My parents have plenty of pictures of me sitting on the steps and looking out a particular window in our house and just seeing the trains go by. Still do it every time I come home when I get the chance.
Sure.
Um, I have not been people. Many people have tempted me to get into other scales. Um, in fact, we have one member who delves into live scale, and he's been trying, I think, for the last 2 years to get me to buy in. I can't do it. Just can't do it. I don't have the room in the house.
Right. Right. I don't know if you've listened to previous episodes, but a good friend of mine, Eric, he's doing 1 inch scale. He's doing a Santa Fe GP60M, and I've been helping him 3D printing some parts on that. And while it's cool to see and all, it's all fun. And I'm just like, yeah, there's that little bit of, I'd love to build one, but then I'm like you, where am I going to put it? Yeah. So, and where am I going to run it when I do get it built? So yeah, I'll stick
Hmm.
with the HO myself too. So you more or less answered this next question of, have you modeled in any other scales? And clearly you said you've been HO since day one there, Dan. How about you, Jerry? Have you done any other?
I've done a little bit of O gauge, and also I have back in my early years when I was 6 and 7 year old. Me and my parents actually worked on a restoration of a steam locomotive in Hawaii.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that was very interesting because the restoration was done on a military base.
Mhm.
And so it was a deal where after we had gone through the appropriate checks and all that stuff from the government and all that stuff, it was nothing for us just to go in on a Saturday and work basically from dawn till dusk. And it was for narrow gauge because that's what they use over in the islands is narrow gauge railroad because of small, land and all that stuff, and easy to maneuver around. And we were able to learn some things that, well, let's just say if the Japanese knew, they could have done a heck of a lot more damage than what they did.
Sure.
So, and that's all I'm going to say about that. But
Right.
it was fun. Uh, it's an experience that if you are able to participate, I would strongly say do it. If nothing else, just to say that, yeah, I know what these guys have to go through, and you sympathize for them for all the work and the the monetary things that they have to do to get things up and running.
Sure.
And I mean, it's just phenomenal.
Sure.
Yeah, and not to go off on a tangent, but maybe not modeling, but even just participating, volunteering in these other scales of other railroads. I volunteered on the Cuyahoga Valley Scenic Railroad up in Cleveland, Ohio, in a
Okay.
past life, and just the 1 year I was there, it was fantastic to learn
Mhm.
what it takes to run even a small 26-mile railroad where you're balancing tourist trains, you're balancing business demands, you're improving your shop, you're learning just even just the basic switching moves of setting up your consist. Any opportunities there's some great opportunities here around the state of Iowa. You have the Boone Valley Scenic Railroad. I know they're always hunting for volunteers, and then the probably the biggest one that has its fame right now being its Silvis and railroading heritage of Midwest America.
Sure.
All those, and they search for volunteers in different ways, but any way you can volunteer if you're that excited about railroading, absolutely highly encourage it.
Sure. Well,
Yeah,
and
there's sorry, Gary. Another thing is too is you can always go down to Mount Pleasant Threshers. They're looking for people as well. Again, you get to there, you get to work on steam as well as diesel. So
right. Well, and like you said, Dan, you you got to learn balancing the cars and just switching. Whereas us as modelers, yeah, we look at the prototype, we look at what we read in the magazines and forums, what we hear, how to switch, how to build this, how to do that, how to maintain your track. But while some of that, the concepts are the same, the way of doing things and all that is different in its own sense in the real world. So I can totally see where you guys are coming from as far as if you're able to do it, volunteer and help out because it gives you a different perspective. All right, so let's see here. Let's kind of move into. I know Jerry, you said if I'm trying to remember correctly, was it 2012 or 2013 when you joined the Hawkeye Model Railroad Club? Is that correct?
2013.
2013. How about you, Dan? When did you join?
Well, they suckered me in May of 2022. I moved out here from Ohio to Iowa, and they had the Hawkeye Model Railroad Club was in their old building at the Coralville in IRL shopping district, and they had an open house, and I said, well, I'll just pop my head in, see how it goes. And they're like, oh, by the way, we're building this brand new building. You should totally join us. And it was hook, line, and sinker from there. So going on almost 3 years now.
Wow. All right. That's cool. So this will be for the both of you. I guess, Dan, if you want to answer this one first, what is your favorite part about being in, it's either in Hawkeye, the HMRC or just in general, a club?
The best part of being in a club is just how much you can learn as long as you're willing to put in that time to learn. Not everyone has the time. Not everyone can stay, hours past everyone else leaving to, soak up all the knowledge if they're doing those super detailed track planning and items like that. But if you're willing to put in the time, if you're willing to reach out to these members and ask, hey, can I have your help with something? They're willing to give it. And you got to find the right club. Not every club is like that. It's sometimes hard to find that right club, but it's absolutely worth it. Yeah, there's YouTube videos to help with some of this stuff. But for example, a couple weeks ago, I had never upgraded my couplers on a car before. I had just dealt with what I got. But there was one night, and I've been building up for a couple weeks. I finally went out. I went to a couple guys that stay late at night, and I asked them straight up, hey, can you help me reset my couplers so that they have a screw with their coupler box and put the correct coupler in the correct drill and show me how to do this? And they were absolutely willing to. They gave me some hard time, telling me, oh, it's easy, it's not that hard, you can do it. I'm like, well, show me. So
Right.
I can now go and show other people. And that's the best part about a club is you get to show these people time and time again new things.
Sure. How about you, Jerry? What's your favorite part about being in the Hawkeye Model Railroad Club or being in a club?
Well, I would say that first of all, when I joined, I was me and my father were just had recently had our funeral for my mother, so we were looking for something to do.
Mhm.
And so we knew some of the members already from past clubs and stuff like that, and from personal friendships and all that stuff. So we said, hey, why not? And it for us, or I should say for me, really, it's more of expanding family.
Okay.
And when I was elected president back in 2014, first thing I said to him that to all the members, we have several members that are have PhDs, and they have doctorates, and they're MMR people, which is in the National Model Railroad. The MMR is Master Model Railroader. And I told him, first of all that stuff doesn't bother me any. It's out the window. We are all equal. We can all learn from each other. And I said, another thing is, we're all family. As far as I'm concerned, we're all family, so we're here to support each other. And like Dan said, uh, many of us have gone and shown other members how to do things. Like recently, Dan said like he mentioned, you need to know how to do the couplers. So several of us said, okay, yeah, we can show you. And other people have gone and tutored other members or put on clinics in regards to how to install decoders, which is now what is in most of our locomotives that we get now. And so, there, I like to take my knowledge, what I've gone and acquired over the last 60 years, and tell the members, hey, this is what you can do if you want to choose to go that direction. That's your opinion and your willingness to do that. Otherwise, you can do your own and find out maybe there's a better way to do something. And if you do, you can tell us, and then we have as the expression goes, another tool in our tool chest of knowledge.
Absolutely.
And and the thing is too, is you get to know other people, not only here in the US,
Hmm.
but you get to know other people around the world, either through like what we're doing right now, podcasting, or go to train conventions, or just joining other online groups that correspond via emails, or things of that nature. And so it's a deal where it's a yes, it's a big world, but once you join a group of individuals like ours, all of a sudden that world gets very small, and you go and realize, a lot of us, sure, we got borders between us, but you know what? We're all in this hobby to enjoy the hobby.
Right. Absolutely.
And so that, to me, is why I'm in it, as well as, in a way, when you go and build a layout, yes, you are building, let's say, a certain thing that you like about a certain railroad, certain location in that. You can basically have, I want it, I'm going to say this, but don't take this, Larry. You kind of playing God.
Right.
And so you're saying, okay, this is how I see a particular landscape, things like that, or building, or whatever. And so when we did the new building, I've been telling people who've come in and saying, well, this is our room. We've got a lobby, a museum area, and then you go through this tunnel, and now you're going into our train room. And I go and tell people, this is the world of illusion. Yes, we are model railroaders, but we also are illusionists. in a way of going and saying, this is how we foresee things and all that. So, you get to go and have a lot of experiences where you go and play. You go and work with different materials, and that's what I like about being in this club, being with the members. And that, as far as I'm concerned, uh, I consider Dan like a brother, but from a different mother, as the expression goes. And that's how I like a lot of our members. They all realize, hey, we're all in this together, and let's have fun. And
Sure.
that's the thing. You got to have fun.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. And to go back, just kind of reiterate with what Dan said about clubs is not every club is for everybody. You do have to find your own club. Because I know when I got back into, and I've said this on earlier episodes, when I got back into model railroading little over 2 years ago, uh, I joined, I was in the process of joining a local club here, and nothing against the club, the layout. The only reason I didn't stay with it is because their meetings were on Monday nights, and for me, I work 45 minutes away. So when I get home from work, especially on Monday nights, I, I don't want to do anything. I just want to sit, and if I'm not working on my railroad, I just sit in my chair and relax. So that was the only reason that didn't work for me. But I know we talked about this. Me and I can't remember which guest it was a few episodes ago, but they brought up the club aspect, and if one club doesn't work for you, check out other clubs, because there is a right fit for you out there somewhere. You just have to find the right fit. All right, so we're going to move on to the Hawkeye Model Railroad Club. We've said it several times. So let's first start with, where is the Hawkeye Model Railroad Club located?
Danny,
Either
you want
one.
to go say it? You can.
I'm gonna give me the easy one. I see how it is.
Yeah.
So the Hawkeye Model Railroad Club is currently located at the Johnson County Fairgrounds in Iowa City. The formal address, you can Google it. It's on our website, HawkeyeModelRR.com. But if you pull up on the county fairgrounds, you'll see this beautiful red building off to the side, and you'll see actually a railroad crossbuck off to the side. And when the club is open for everyone to come in, you'll see two flashing lights waiting for you to signal you in.
That's
And
cool.
hopefully over the next several months, as the weather gets nicer, you'll see even more visual improvements to the building on the exterior as well as the interior.
Sure. Now, if it were, correct me if I'm wrong, but when isn't that building a brand new or relatively brand new building within the last few years that I've been seeing?
Absolutely. The building, correct me if I'm wrong, Jerry, that building is only about 2 years old at this point.
Yeah.
We broke ground in June 7th of 2022.
Yes.
Okay.
And June 7th, 22. And we did the groundbreaking in the morning. We went and broke for lunch, and when during our lunch break, the people with the equipment to dig the footings and all that stuff,
Mhm.
they had did all the basic groundwork over lunch. So by the time we came back, like around 1 o'clock, they had all the footings. The groundwork was done. Digging out, and we're going like, dang, this is great.
Sure.
And then they finally came in and start pouring the concrete, and they did the shell work, which is post and beam, and then they got the ceiling on, and then they did got the exterior walls put up. I mean the skin portion of it. And so by August of 22, we were actually starting to put in the interior walls.
Oh, wow.
And basically, it was a deal where it was, 3 to 4 guys would come in during the summertime or when it was still warm and all that.
Mhm.
And we go and say, hey, let's meet at the club at 5 o'clock tonight. Okay. We would leave the club at 1 o'clock or maybe 2 o'clock that morning, and we
Oh,
did
wow.
that like 3 or 4 nights in a row.
Wow.
And I mean, I'm not trying to brag about our building or anything like that, but if there was any severe weather, tornadic type stuff, and need seek shelter, I would strongly go to our place, because I think in 2 of those walls we have enough lumber that would take up 2 sequoia trees. I mean, we build stuff to last, do we
Right.
not, Dan?
You guys and your love of glue. That's all I'm gonna say about that building process.
Yes, we have one guy that we I think we probably got maybe 20, oh, no, about 10 gallons of glue so far that we've used in
Wow.
that. Yeah, I mean it's the wood carpenter's glue and all that.
Right.
And between screws and nails and all that,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, if you go over to our site, or over to our YouTube site, where I have a 1 year anniversary video on there, there's a section in the video there where we had already put up the insulation, and now we're putting up the plastic before we put up the drywall. And we had 2 guys pulling or pushing a scaffold, and our vice president was sitting down, and he was hammer nailing, or stapling, I should say, the
Mhm.
plastic up there. And he got in a rhythm, and it sounds like a steam engine.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was just purely, by accident when that happened.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, there'd be several times where we'd be there until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning during the cold weather months,
Mhm.
uh, after we had the insulation, all that up there, without any heat on, it was still about 50 degrees inside. And the
Nice.
outside temperature was like -10, -20. And so we knew that we had a pretty good insulated building.
Sure.
And then we started to put up like I said, the drywalls and stuff
Mhm.
like that, and uh, the material for the lobby, for which one of our members said, hey, why don't we have, since we got the building looking like a freight house,
Mhm.
let's have the lobby area like a freight house. And so that's what we did. And we stained a lot of wood, and I did some theater technique on some wood, and a lot of members were saying, "Oh, that's not going to look right." But once I was done, between me and my dad, got that done, people were like, "Hey, that looks wonderful. I mean, that looks like it's aged wood, like it should be." And so, uh, happy things happened. And I can't say enough about our members who have put in the time and getting the building prepped to the point where we are now, where we can actually have the club layout built.
Mhm.
And I mean, from basically what we did just over a year ago uh, to now, I mean, people are going like, "Wow, you guys did this," and we're going like, "Yeah." It's a deal where when we go and say we're going to do something, we do it.
Sure.
That's it.
Sure.
So
All right. That's awesome information. And we're going to talk to Dan and Jerry here after break. So stick around because we'll be back shortly.
Calling all model railroaders and railroad enthusiasts. The Hawkeye Model Railroad Club and ScaleSigns.com are proud to sponsor the 5th annual Iowa City Train Show on Sunday, October 19th at the Johnson County Fairgrounds in Iowa City, Iowa, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Enjoy 2 buildings packed full of model railroad items in scales HO, N, O, and more, along with railroad memorabilia of all shapes and sizes. Admission is just $5 for adults, with kids 12 and under free. Don't forget to also check out the Hawkeye Model Railroad Club's layout progress down at their club building, open to the public for free all day long. Interested in being a vendor or displaying your organization or model railroad layout? Check out our website at www.hawkeyemodelrr.com/2025 train show. The 5th annual Iowa City Train Show, sponsored by ScaleSigns.com and the Hawkeye Model Railroad Club on Sunday, October 19th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Johnson County Fairgrounds in Iowa City, Iowa. We'll see you at the show.
Looking for a great deal on model railroading? When you find one, you jump on it. And Broadway Limited Imports has one you won't want to miss. The 2025 Conductors Club locomotive, the GE ES44 in HO and N scale. This exclusive club members only release comes at an unbeatable price. HO scale offerings, Paragon Force Sound, DCC with smoke, just $199.99. Stealth DCC ready, only $129.99. N-scale offerings, Paragon Force Sound, DCC $149.99. Stealth DCC ready, $99.99. And check out these stunning road names. CPKC's newest scheme, Western Maryland, Georgia Railroad CSX Heritage Units, and Union Pacific's Pink Ribbon Scheme honoring the fight against breast cancer. You can order these locomotives by May 23rd, 2025. These locomotives are expected to deliver to customers this fall. For more information on the Conductors Club membership and its many perks, visit Broadway-Limited.com. Broadway Limited is a proud partner of the Model Railroad Talk podcast.
Are you tired of seeing the same old clean trains on your layout? Do you want realistic rolling rust buckets or something that looks like it's been around a few years? What about a grimy oil stained locomotive? Alan at Alan's N Scale World is just your guy. He specializes in custom weathering of any scale and has 3 different stages of weathering to choose from. He also hand paints some of the coolest N scale semis and trailers on the market. Get a hold of him today to find out what he can do for your model railroad. You can find him on Facebook at Alan's N Scale World or email him directly at allansnscaleworld@gmail.com. Alan's N Scale World, bringing you scale creations from real life situations.
Do you want a chance to get a free gift certificate to Broadway Limited Imports? Well, look in the description below. There is a link to our form to fill out. It's 1 entry per person. Thank you to Broadway Limited Imports who supports this podcast. Now, if you were interested in getting a second entry, like we said, this is 1 entry per person, but guess what? Our premium supporters who go on over to www.patreon.com/ModelRailroadTalk and become a premium supporter by April 26th, 2025, will get a second entry automatically. We'll automatically put you in the list. April 26th, 2025 is the last day that you're going to be able to put your name in the hat, and we will be doing a drawing the following week. And so get your entries in so we have as many as we can to draw from. So good luck to all my listeners, and thank you, Broadway Limited Imports. You guys are great. And we are back from break. It was a good break, and here we are still with Dan and Jerry from Hawkeye Model Railroad Club, and great conversation so far in the first half. And you heard their ad for their train show in October. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit, but we want to get to a little bit more about the club. So let's get right into those so we can get to the show information. Dan, or I'm sorry, Jerry, how long has the Hawkeye Model Railroad Club been in existence?
The Hawkeye Model Railroad has been in existence since 2006. And it was basically born from a previous club, which was the Iowa City Society of Model Railroader Engineers.
Okay.
And how the Hawkeye Model Railroad Club came to existence was the Iowa City, or I should say the Coralville Antique Car Museum was looking for a added attraction into their little spot that they had left over from all the cars that they had put in.
Hmm. Okay.
And so they reached out to a couple people that were in the club, and they said, "Yeah, sure, we'd come in there and be part of your facility and all that stuff."
Mhm.
So details were hammered out, and uh, so by I think about a year into the existence of the 2006, they started to put up walls and started to put up the actual layout that was there on a few stipulations that there were some things that the public could do while we were not there opened. And
Okay.
so we said, sure, we can do that. And that's how things started. And over the years, we just kept adding more and more to the layout
Mhm.
in different phases. And we were basically in phase 5/6, which would then put us in the year 2021, 22.
Mhm.
And that's when the ice arena was being built. And we were scheduled to be over there with the car museum and the historical people. And there were some things that developed that we were no longer able to be there. So at that same time, the Johnson County Fair people were looking for added attraction, and so they met up with us and found out that their mission statement and our mission statement uh, were pretty well identical. And so they said, "Hey, we got this piece of land here, and would you want to put a building there?" Or if not, we have a building already. So we looked at what building that they wanted us to be in, and we said, "Yeah, that'd be fine." Well, comes along, they had a bad storm and all that, and flooded their basement to the point where we couldn't be there because of health issues in the building.
Sure.
So we said, "Hey, can we build our own?" They said, "Yeah, sure." And so that's where June 7th of 2022 is. That's when we started the building.
Okay.
And so we've got a membership of about 32, 33 members,
Mhm.
uh, ages ranging from 10 to 88.
Oh, wow.
And professions are basically from, grade school kids up to retirement people that were either part of the railroad industry itself,
Mhm.
or people who have had knowledge of various railroad things and that. So we decided, hey, let's pull our resources together, and came about that way. And
Nice.
so, when it comes time to run trains and that, we can, tap on these uh, current or retired railroaders and
Mhm.
say, hey, are we doing this right? And they can say yay or nay, or, things like that. So,
Nice. That's always a nice, valuable resource to have.
mm-hmm.
All right. So this one's for you, Dan. How often does the club meet? So and with that, do you have a mixture of meetings and work sessions, or how does that work out for you guys?
So, meeting/work sessions has been a lot more work sessions than meetings, I think, at this point. We meet to work on the layout in some capacity every Wednesday night, and most Saturday mornings we're meeting up. Our meetings on Wednesday nights typically take place from 7 to 8:30 p.m., whereas our Saturday morning work sessions take place from 9 a.m. to about noon, 1 o'clock ish. And during those times, the public is absolutely welcome to come in and come check out the layout. Uh, we don't advertise it very frequently because we don't want a ton of people coming in, because it is a popular attraction for the Iowa City community. And we know a lot of railroaders are very passionate and want to see the layout. Um, we do, however, take our time and We want to make sure that it's a safe place for people to walk through with a lot of construction. We just actually took apart our one of our 2 helixes to get it ready for phase 2 of development. So we had a lot of wood, a lot of screws, a lot of people moving about. So just not a. We just want to be patient with us, and that's why we don't advertise it quite yet. Once we get later down the road, I know this is a question a lot of people are asking: is when are you doing open houses again?
Mhm.
We'll do open houses hopefully sometime after the Johnson County Fair, when we can have full access to our layout and our trains are running constantly across both levels of our layout. But for right now, we're keeping it just to our Wednesday and Saturdays. And if people want to come and show up, it's great. It just won't be advertised to the general public as frequently.
Sure. And I would assume probably if somebody is interested, you would probably prefer maybe a courtesy email, even say, hey, would it be all right? Somebody stops by, at least give you a heads up, right?
Absolutely. And if you go to our website, HawkeyeModelRRClub.com, you can find us on Facebook, leave us a Facebook message. A heads up would absolutely be appreciative. We've had other requests too for other events that people have wanted to gather and meet at our club, and a heads up is absolutely great. We appreciate it, so we can make sure everything's cleaned up and everything looks great for everyone that wants to come out. And
Sure.
so
Yeah.
we've had a lot of success with that, with people reaching out ahead of time. Just unfortunately, don't expect an immediate call back. If you just leave us a cell phone number, keep an eye on your email if you can. Email and Facebook messages are the best way for us to keep in contact with people.
Sure. Uh, I completely understand that myself. Um, so I guess this is kind of for both of you. I either one of you can start off with this. Tell us about the club's layout, like the scale. Are you running DC, DCC? What's the size of the layout? What's your operating scheme, railroad kind of thing? Kind of give everybody, give the listeners an overview.
I'm going to turn this one over to Jared because I know he's been dreaming about this layout for over 2 years, and he's been working really closely with our main architect, so he knows
Sure.
a lot more of the specific details of the building and size. So take it away, Jerry.
Okay.
Mhm.
First of all, the overall size of our building is 42 by 80.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And the actual train room is 41 by 56.
Not big enough.
Yeah, you're right. It's not big enough.
No.
But it is, our layout is designed as a what if. What if Union Pacific and Rock Island merged back in the 60s, which they were actually going to do.
Mm-hmm.
But due to certain people, dragging their feet and all that stuff, it never happened. But in our world, it did. So we are going to model that particular stretch from East Davenport to Newton, Iowa.
Oh, nice.
And it will be double track main all the way through that point. If you go to Iowa City and look at the Iowa Interstate Bridge that goes over the Iowa River,
Mm-hmm.
you will see that it is designed for double main. So, that was back in the Rock Island era that they were going to do that. So we are just saying, hey, okay, we are just saying we are going to continue that.
Mm-hmm.
The railroad itself is HO scale, and it's DCC, and it is going to be a mushroom design layout. Now, for people who do not know what a mushroom design layout is if you are standing on the floor and looking at the scenery, no matter where you are at in the room and you're looking at the scenery and you got a little wall in front of you, that will be always north, no matter where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go and look above the scenery, there is a view block. Well, that is where the second level of the layout is. You have to go up 30 inches on a ramp. So now you're on the inside, and that's where the mushroom design concept comes in at. So you're not seeing both levels at the same time.
Sure.
And so we will have various themed times for running. So we'll probably have like a month worth of running steam, and then the next month maybe early steam to diesel transition, and then we'll probably do like on the third month do a modern diesel, things like that. So it will be a interesting concept of doing things. We figured that it will uh, require probably 10 to 15 members running the layout at an operating session.
Nice.
And if, let's just say, you need to have steps for a certain day, you can come to our layout and help us run the layout, and you will get your steps in and then some. Am I not right, Dan?
You're not kidding. We got some work to do still to make sure that people are going to last during these operating sessions, because the operating sessions are projected to go northward of 3 hours with all of the activities that people have to do. So, uh, people better be prepared. We don't have a timeline yet, unfortunately, when those operation sessions will be announced, or if who will all be invited. We got a lot of work to do, a lot of track delay to get there, unfortunately, but we're super excited. One note that I want to add on that DCC: so the layout is DCC, but it is NCE
Okay.
DCC. I know some people out there are loyal to Digitrax. So that's all fine and dandy. Uh, uh, Sorry, Gary, but
I,
we're NCE loyalists over here. We've just found that it is, for us, it's what works best, and we've been satisfied with it. We're definitely buying a lot of their equipment, so they're happy with us. And I, scenery wise, I know that was one of some asking points. We're not quite scenery yet.
No.
We are so close.
Mhm.
One of the biggest steps that came through recently for the layout to get towards scenery was lighting.
Okay.
We just finished a huge section of lighting, and it's actually LED strip lighting that's illuminating the actual track and where the industries are going to lay. And it brightens that area of the track so much. People who may have seen our club last year at the train show, they will be so impressed with the progress. And we hope to keep adding that scenery as time goes on. Well, we're still a lot of bench work that's being built, but we've come a long way, and we're super excited to show it off.
That's awesome. But that's the thing. A lot of people, I think, most clubs that you hear of, a big bulk of their railroad is completed, scenic, or in the building process, but they have partial scenery or they're adding on. And I'm not saying it's good, but on the flip side, it is kind of good that people can actually see what, if people are following you up to this point, they can see what the process of building a large model railroad is. It's the same process as building one in your basement or a little 4x8. It only much more time, take your time with it.
Yeah. And another thing we want to shout out. So when we were designing the building, one of the biggest things that we had to keep in mind was that this building is going to be open during the Johnson County Fair, and that's 4 days. And last year, when our building was open, we actually had our basic lower level loop of trains running. We had over 1,500 people come through the layout at one time.
Wow, that's awesome.
And to deal with that amount of traffic, we did have to make some compromises during the design. One of those was our aisleway. One of our main aisleways is 6 feet wide.
Oh, wow.
And to some people, people are going to say, "Oh, that's too much railroad. That's too much space to give up to 6 foot. Who are we building it for? Us or the public?" And it's like, well, in our situation, we had to do that. We had to build them so that we can get outside public in and have that sort of traffic and that sort of attention. Because when you can host that many people, that many more people will come.
Sure.
Not to draw from Field of Dreams. Granted, this is from Iowa podcast, but don't want to go down the baseball route. But it's true. Sometimes you do have to make those kind of compromises. That it gives up a little bit of railroad, but you get so many more people to enjoy it. So, but a little something for those 6 foot aisleways. we actually have additional railroad that's going to be on that outside wall. So it's not just only railroad on one side. You're going to see railroad on both sides of you.
Yeah.
Now the outside walls won't be active while that's going on, but you can still at least see some of that scenery and some of those. We'll have some staging areas for some of our club members to store their trains, as well as just trains for our operating sessions. People will still get to see those during that time. So definitely super exciting for what's coming.
Yeah, and to add on to what Dan was saying there, when we were designing the layout, the main layout, we saw that we had a potential to fill up some areas that require different scales.
Mm-hmm.
So we have we have the HO scale,
Mm-hmm.
but we have on one side of an aisle O gauge. We have on the other side of another aisle S gauge.
Nice.
And in the lobby, we have two gauges that we'll be having. One is already G gauge, which is the garden railroad, which a lot of people see outdoor, the world. And then we have an N gauge scale layout that we are building. So we have 5 gauges in that building.
Nice.
Not very many clubs around the U.S. have that type of ability to do that. They either do 1 or 2, and that's it.
Right.
But we want to show the public the various styles and gauges, and also we have 3 different displays in our lobby of how the just the electronics itself have developed over the years. And so people can see that there, as well as size comparison in another cabinet. And then in another cabinet, we have part of the old layout that we tore down from Corvo. We were able to tear it down in such a way that we saved a farmstead that was very well detailed.
Oh, nice.
And then we have a curved wooden trestle that we named Truett's Trestle, because the builder, his last name was Truett, and he was a very well respected model railroader in the Iowa City, Cedar Rapids community. And we lost him just recently, about a year ago. And so we have preserved that trestle, and we will be putting that in our lobby here in a special location. And the work that went into that this gentleman put in, and how he did it. And when we just say this is all glued, there's no nails, nothing like that. And the strength of said trestle, in years past, when we had it at the old location on the layout, we actually had members, and I can attest, I was one of them that actually put their hand on top of the trestle and actually was pushing down on it, and it didn't creak. That's how, the structure, that's how well it was done. And so, there are some historical things that we have in there in the building, awesome, as well as structures. So
nice. I know I'm excited to be able to see the progress myself. All right, so now let's move on to the big thing, the show. Dan, if you want to start out, do you want to talk about the train show?
Yeah, so 5th annual 2025 Iowa City Train Show in Iowa City, still in Iowa City. We are still at the Johnson County Fairgrounds on that Sunday, October 19th, 3rd week in October. Hopefully, we've had beautiful weather the last 3 years we've held the show. It's been incredible. Yeah, cross your fingers. But, it's funny. People tell me all the time, it's like, well, the nicer weather actually hurts your show attendance, because now people don't want to be inside a building shopping for trains. They want to go outside and, rake their leaves or something else boring other than, go spend some money.
Right.
But no, we're super, super excited. 5th year anniversary, and it's a testament to the popularity that our show has garnered from surrounding vendors. Um, so this show all started, and Jerry can add some details here at the end, but the show started as a way to help fund our club.
Mhm.
On our old building in the Coralville, Iowa River Landing, we were in a building that took a lot of money in rent and utilities in order to maintain.
Mhm.
And so, first couple years of the show, that show really helped keep the club going from month to month to help pay all the utilities and the heat. However, now the show has really helped fund the rest of this layout build in our new building at the Johnson County Fairgrounds. So,
Nice.
going to the show, you're supporting our club in more ways than one and helping to see like where all of your, if people's private donations, if you're seeing people just paying their attendance fee at the show, you're getting to see that progress in real time. Uh, so this is my 3rd year organizing the show. I took over from one of our members. He had done a great job building the show, and I was just super excited and eager to keep planning the show and keep growing it and growing it. We've had about a 30% increase in the number of vendors that we've had want to come to the show. Our tables, we didn't quite make 150 tables last year. I think we were 142
Mhm.
total tables, and still with some room to grow.
Mhm.
And we're just still always looking for ways to improve. We are. It was just announced on our page. We're recording this on March 22nd. It was just announced on our Facebook page. We have our first official sponsor for our show, and what better way? It's a 5th annual show. Our first official sponsor from a model railroading company, Scale Signs. They have been super generous to help us help for this show, and we are super excited for them to be at the show. This will be our first time we actually have another vendor like this coming to the show. So it's all adding up, and we're gearing up. We're still looking for new ways to help bring more people into the show, and we just can't wait.
Sure. Yeah, and actually, I just seen that, and I actually, after I seen your guys' post, uh, I went on to Scale Signs for the first time myself because I've been looking for those little propane gas things where you like propane exchange things,
Yeah,
and I've been looking for them. I haven't found any I liked. I didn't even think about Scale Signs. Went on there. They had the ones I wanted for my Casey's module, which I'll have at the show there, and
awesome.
I'm like, all right, I'm ordering 2 of those. So it was kind of a win-win. You guys showed them, and I'm giving back there. So, uh,
Excellent. And yeah, of all things, we didn't get to mention this, but Model Railroad Talk, this podcast, we're going to have the first ever podcast at our show in October. So thank you, Gary, for
yeah.
coming along with the show. And we're super excited to have you as well.
Well, in fairness, it's my first show as for the podcast, but I'm super excited to not only be there, but to help promote the show and work with you guys and do what I can to help you guys promote the show. All
Yeah.
right.
If
But
I can add just one thing there about
absolutely.
with the scale signs, I met the owner last year at the St. Louis RPM show, and I mentioned to him that we have a train show, and gave him the flyer, things like that, and he says, "Well, I can't do it this year, but I would like to come up next year because they themselves are basically a new business, about no more than 2 years old,
Okay.
and so this is a feather in their cap, as the saying goes, for doing something like this here." And the guy is very pleasant to talk to. He will listen to you. He will take down, any notes, any ideas that you come up with, and he will work on them. I mean, at the time I was talking to him, he was telling me that he was in the process of designing the uh, posts for the uh, stop signs, street signs, that that have the actual holes
Mm-hmm.
in the pipework. And he says nobody has modeled that. He says I've got a 3D printer that will do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was very excited for that. And I have seen that product, and I have talked to him quite a lot, and he is very excited to come to our show.
That's awesome. I know I'm excited to get my propane exchange tanks, but from them, from the sounds of it and everything I've read about them, and seen up to this point, yeah, they seem like an excellent company. So, um, I'm actually looking forward to being able to meet them at the show as well. Um, so I know it's still early, but based on, do you have any kind of projections? How many vendors or anything like that that you think will be there this year?
Well, if it's anything like last year, we're going to have about 30 different vendors
Okay.
coming this year. Both, and those vendors include people selling trains like normal. We actually have our first table already sold
Mhm.
before yours, even Gary. So
Oh, wow.
he was chomping at the bit to get his table ready.
Mhm.
And then we have displays or other kind of just exhibitive vendors such as yourself, and podcasts, and others. We'll have hopefully this year we have another actual class 2 railroad showing up. That hasn't been confirmed yet, so I can't share any more
Sure.
details, but we got, hopefully that's in the works. We're still working through their connections. And last year we were at 28. We have some come and go each year just because of different schedules or different requirements.
Mhm.
And we've tried to step up our game and what's allowed at the show and what's not, just to keep it railroad friendly and keep it purposeful. So
Right.
we're hoping for 30. We'd love to sell out the building, both buildings, in fact, and we're
Mhm.
just keep growing.
Awesome. Awesome. So, um, not to take away from that, but does the Hawkeye Model Railroad Club host any other shows or events, besides your annual one right now?
Not right now. We are in the future. We do hope to host separate clinics and other railroad themed events, but no specific shows. If you're in tune with the Eastern Iowa region of train shows, our spring, apologize, we have a
It's all good.
young dog.
Yeah.
Uh, let's restart. So we don't. Hawkeye Model Railroad Club doesn't host any shows at this point in time. We specifically do our fall show to hopefully not conflict with other popular shows such as the Davenport Train Show that comes out here in April, just around the corner. But later on, we do hope to advertise different free clinics and other events such as the Railroading Merit Badge for Boy Scouts. I know I'm super excited to hopefully one day host that as well. So,
Sure.
no other shows right now, but we do hope to host other events throughout the year once we can get our club really up and running and get some trains regularly running for people.
Sure. Sure. Um, my next question was going to be, how can someone contact you about either about the show or join the Hawkeye Model Railroad Club? But as we've stated several times at this point, they can go to your website, or Facebook page, email, message you, and give you guys some a little bit of time to get back to them. Is there any other ways, or is that pretty much it?
Yeah, that's the two main ways. If you go to our website, again, Hawkeye Model RRClub.com,
Hmm.
you can go on, see the 2025 train show. We actually have a separate vendor link. So, as a vendor, or if you're just the display, or if there are people out there that want to bring your traveling model railroads, we have links for that too. We're absolutely looking for people who want to bring their railroads to show off what they've created. So, we have spaces for them. We're we've talked about potentially having free modules there and having other displays, museums, exhibits. Oh, those are all up for game for people, and you can find all the links to reach out to us and connect with us at our website there.
Sure. I'd love to bring my layout, but as you can see behind me, I don't think I'd be able to transport it and set it up there. So,
Where there's a will, there's a way, Gary.
well, yeah, but I just cringe at how, yeah. Um, so let's go to you, Jerry. Any final thoughts on model railroading or the Hawkeye Model Railroad Club or the train show?
Uh, well, to go and say from another podcast person, this is the greatest hobby in the world. I truly believe it is. I mean, what other hobby can you have the the ability to go and have I'm trying to say the right things here. Be able to go and do electronic projects, wood projects, scenery, painting, things of that nature, where some of the other hobbies, which are all hobbies are great to have.
Yeah.
But this one particular hobby, you can touch so many things. And there's so many things, like history. When you were in school, you're, growing up and say, oh, geez, why do I have to learn history for? Oh, this is boring. But let me tell you, when you get into this hobby, you understand where that history, where the history of said railroad comes from, or geography, geology, things of that nature, and all that stuff that when we were growing up in high school, growing up in that, we're saying, we'll never, need to use that, when we're adults. Well, let me tell you, it does. You definitely touch upon it, and then you go and say, man, you know what? History wasn't too bad. That's pretty interesting. Things of that nature. I have to say that all the members that I have known throughout my length at the Hawkeye Model Railroad have been wonderful. Many of them have come out to our place where my father and I live, and we spend hours talking at times, and not necessarily about trains, but just things in general. And so, being in a hobby like this here, yeah, you can have interesting conversations beyond trains. And to the people that are out there that are listening, either for the first time or several times, about our club or what your podcast and that, seek out a hobby, whether it's railroads or remote control planes or book club, whatever. Get involved with a hobby. Uh, it will help you in the long run, unwind from the day or from political stuff, things like that.
Right.
And you're able to be a human being again. And just all I can basically say is have fun no matter what hobby you do. Have fun. That's the thing. If you don't have fun, get out of it.
Right. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And Dan, how about you? Any final thoughts on model railroading, the club, the show, whatever?
I think we're in a fantastic time being a part of the hobby. There's with so many things going on in the world, and a hobby in itself provides such an outlet from all the craziness to get lost in your own world. And what better way to create your own world than through a model railroad? And so we thank everyone that's supported the Hawkeye Model Railroad Club so far. We thank you, Gary, for all the support you've given us so far and continue to support us. And we love to keep seeing people come, and even just if it's seeing the layout for one time and then being on your way, we hope that we leave an impression on you to maybe someday start your own. And I know for me, just these last 3 years with the club and throughout my whole journey as a model railroader, it's been quite a privilege to see the evolution and just the charity within this hobby. So it's been fantastic to see, and I can't wait to see where it goes in the future.
Yeah,
Sure.
I have to say one thing, and when Dan first came onto the scene here, he was definitely wet behind the ears in the hobby in that, and I am very pleased on how well he has grabbed onto the knowledge that the fellow model railroaders have given him.
Mhm.
And I have seen leaps and bounds in his growth. And I really appreciate seeing that. it tells me that the club members are doing the right thing. And that is, they're giving the information, their experiences to a newbie, basically. And he's taking it and he's thriving. He has countless said to many members, "Oh, I just got this locomotive from this particular company." Oh, and then we all go and say, "See, you're hooked. You're hooked. Yeah, and see, you're." And next thing he goes and says, "Oh, I just spent this month here," and we're going like, "Yep, yeah, he's definitely." And we all have fun, and like I've been saying, you got to have fun with this, and you got to have fun with your fellow members. And it's just, it's a joy for me to see what he has done, and what other members who are new since he has, and they have come up to him and say, hey, what can I do? Or he has gone and took one of our new members. He's our youngest member, and kind of took him under his wing, and is showing him some of the things that he has learned. And to me, that says we're doing it right.
Right.
And to that end, there, for what the 3 years Dan has done with the show here, with our train show, I can't thank him enough for what he has done and the hours that he's put in. And I hope he can continue doing these shows for us, because I honestly have to say that I don't think I could. I could do it, but I couldn't do it as well as he has.
Sure.
And to that end, I want to thank you, Dan, for doing what you have done for the hobby, for our show, and for our club.
You're welcome.
There you go, folks. Another great interview with the fellas from the Hawkeye Model Railroad Club in Iowa City, Iowa. Thank you to Dan and Jerry for coming on the show. And we actually look forward to having them back again so they can talk about updates to the club layout and the train show, so we can get the word out and try to top their numbers this year. So reminder, their train show, it's the 5th annual Iowa City Train Show. It'll be held on October 19th, 2025 at the Johnson County Fairgrounds. You can go to their website, like they stated, Hawkeye Model RR Club.com. We'll have that link in the description below. And or you can go to their Facebook page, look up Hawkeye Model Railroad Club. They've got updates about the club layout and about the train show and all that. And yours truly will be at that train show. It'll be the first train show for Model Railroad Talk. We'll be there. If you want to show support, we'll have t-shirts there to purchase, and we'll have stickers to hand out. I'll be displaying my Casey's, this module I'm doing. And I'll probably have one or two other projects that I'm working on as far as the railroad goes. But mainly it's going to be trying to meet and greet people that want to meet me or at least Model Railroad Talk. So I want to thank them for coming on. Before we close out of here, I want to remind you to check out Broadway Limited at broadway-limited.com. They are a supporter of this podcast, and we really appreciate it. Also, check out their Conductors Club. Their Conductors Club is actually a really good deal, assuming they have the locomotives right now that you want. I know every so often they update that. I don't know when, but that would be something for Curtis. We are, I'm going to try to work on getting Curtis back on here within the next couple months so he can talk more about that and what Broadway Limited is up to. Remember, we have the Broadway Limited giveaway link below, or you can go to our website and we have um, a link to the form to fill out to get registered for the Broadway Limited gift certificate giveaway. That goes on till April 26th. So April 26th at 11:59 and 59 seconds PM is basically your last time to get um, your entry in. It's one entry per person. If you want a second entry, you can always head on over to patreon.com/model railroad talk and become a premium supporter over there. And if once you get past depending on what level you go with, we have some that have a 7-day free trial. Once you get past that free trial, um, we will automatically give you a second entry. You can also go over to buymeacoffee.com/ModelRailTalk and show some support there. And that will give you a second entry as well. Or you can reach out to us. I know through our website, I finally got the store set up again where you can order a t-shirt. That's we have a Square account, Square online thing, whatever. You can go over there and order t-shirts, and we also have it set up to where if you want to make show some support through there, you can do that as well through there. So, www.modelrailroadtalk.com, or you can reach out to us, modelrailroadtalk@gmail.com, or hit us up on Facebook or YouTube, all that good stuff. But enough about that. So I want to thank everybody for listening, and Dan and Jerry from the Hawkeye Model Railroad Club for coming on. Great episode. And as we always say, until the next time, keep your train on the tracks.